Hello everyone. My dear students, will be starting with the theme of poverty and starvation in so many hungers. The title itself talks about hunger, and we'll be taking up this theme, how it is presented in the novel through various characters, through various situations. In this, first of all, we get a picture of the village. The village Brownie is the one that presents us the picture of starvation. How did it start? Bhattacharya shows in this picture of the simple village where people are just able to survive. They're just able to live on. This population of the village actually comprises of farmers, the grain provider, the food provider, fishermen, those who provide fish, those who live on their income from the fish that they catch, labor, which works in the farms, and they whatever they get in the form of food or money, they get out of it. Tradesmen, various kinds of tradesmen like weavers, blacksmiths, carpenters, those who provide for these things to the local people, and they get money, or many a times they got the grain as a reward, as a payment for their trade. Storekeepers are the one who are actually in touch with the city people. They bring provisions, various other things which are needed by the village people from the city, and sell it in the village, many a times with money or exchange of money or exchange of food itself. So this mutual dependence is seen in the villagers. All these are surviving with each other's help. Farmers are the food providers. Labor depend upon farmers for their living. Fishermen and other tradesmen are making their living on the basis of the requirements of the villagers, right? And getting their payment in form of money. But many times this payment is in form of the grain. The storekeeper is their only link with the city. The impact of the war in the villages is seen in these forms. First of all, we see the boats of the fishermen are paid for by the government, and it is confiscated. It leads to the ending of the source of the earning of the fishermen. Then we see the land of the farmers in many villages is taken over by the stationing of the troops, because the troops are to be stationed there on the borders. So this renders these farmers landless. They are paid money for this land, but they have to go away. Then the third thing is the stored grain of the farmers is bought by the storekeepers or by the agents of the government, and therefore this damages their capacity to help each other, and also the capacity to buy their everyday provisions. This stored grain was actually getting bartered by them for their other needs. Money is not going to last them forever. Then we see the money that all these people, the fishermen, the farmers, and other tradesmen, they have got for the boats or for their lands or for their grain, this is devaluated. How? When everything is bought with money, the control goes in the hands of government. The government prints paper money in excess, and this leads to the devaluation of money, and it results in the rising of prices. So the same money which was having a particular price at one point when it was taken by the farmers or by the fishermen, in short while from then, the same money has got a lower value, right? Now you need more money to get the same provisions which you could have got with a lesser amount of money. So we find that this is there. Along with it, there is an impact of the fight for freedom. The Quit India movement, it was in its intensified state when the World War began, and it carried on. The leaders, they had been negotiating and pressing their demands for free India, and they are put in prisons as a result of this movement. Then this protest, it began as a wave in entire country. Smaller leaders like Devata and others are also taken into account. British government retaliates. It retaliates by filling all these people the leaders and men who follow them in the prisons, right? The prisons are filled with people. So most of the villages were emptied of their men, and there were not enough men to work in the fields. And as a result, crops were abundant, but there were no men to look after the crops and wait, so reaped, and then there's no one to harvest them because all the labor they have already gone to the cities in the state of starvation. So crops were abundant, but the starving villagers could not have waited in the present state of starvation. They could not have waited for them to ripe and to be harvested. So these and villagers like Kajali's mother even, they all have sold their standing crops to the agents and they have exodus to the city. So the village brownie is shown as an example of how a village was driven to the edge of starvation. The poverty and extreme hunger drove people to forget their values. They are no longer helping each other because they don't have anything to help. So it became a question of their survival. They had to march to the city. There was no other choice. They had to march to the city because they want to have food. And in city, when they arrive, the city is filled with such people. So there are various scenes in city. The innocent villagers, they have come to the city believing that the rich city people, they are their brothers and they will definitely help their food growing brothers, right? But they are mistaken because although there are some philanthropists like Rahul and many others, but the number of these people, those hungry people from the villages, the number is so big and the government has made no arrangement. These people faced many difficulties when they arrived in city. They were forced to live on the sidewalks of the road, which were dirty, rat infested, and moreover, the long queues of people in front of the food kitchens were seen at many people. So as a result, the number is too big, demand is so much, supply is not so much, and therefore these people were partly nourished, and they were forced to take up eating the refuse of the people. They will go through the rubbish cans, the dustbins, and find out anything that could, even the banana skin and other things like the boxes which are thrown by people, they will try to lick it up just to assuage their hunger to some extent. We find this food scarcity. These people were hungry, but food kitchens started by some people were not able to feed them belly full because of the big number. And then we see the hoarding of grain by companies like Cheap Rice Limited. It also resulted in the non-availability of food. The army was given the first priority and they were to be kept well fed because they were participating in the World War and Japanese troops could have come in India. So the army is to be well fed. We have more of scenes of poverty and the dehumanizing impact of poverty in the city. There are a number of scenes which come up in the book. For example, an infant suckling on the breast of its dead mother at the railway station. A destitute mother carrying her dead child, calling at the houses and blackmailing them. There was a scene of a destitute mother dying during the birth pains, the one who comes to Rahul's house at the night time. Another destitute mother is trying to drown her 3 children because she could not provide them food and she could not see them starve. There is a picture of a hunger-crazed mother. She's feeding on a bowl of rice and her own famished child is looking on. That is the sorry picture. A destitute mother lighting a fire to cook the handful of rice which she has begged and she has collected for her children. But a man attacks her and runs off with that rice. We see all these dehumanizing scenes going on. But the other side shown by the novelist is that hunger. No doubt it poses a big test to the people suffering, but many times it fails. It fails to defeat those people. So on the other hand, The difficult times are times which result in further ennobling of their souls. It is like they get more purified. The author has given us many other instances of hunger and problems, but those are positive examples. These people have not been defeated. They're invincible. They're indomitable. Human will still survives. All this hunger and starvation, it has survived there, and they are still strong. We find the instances of this as well. There's an old man stopping an hungry man from stealing food, and is ready to share his own meager food with that young man. It makes the young angry man weep. There is just another scene of a famished boy offering, to share with Onu a jam tin which they find in the rubbish bin. So this jam tin is having just the syrup is sticking to its side. You just have to lick it up. And he offers to share it with Onu because he could see that Onu is also equally hungry. We see a peasant girl in the street light. The night time Rahul sees her. She is displaying her naked body in the street light. And soldiers surrounding her are giving her money. So whenever they give her money, she displays her naked body. And when there is ample money, she takes that money along and she buys food on the way for the children who are staying on the street with her. And these children, in their affectionate manner, they call her the mother because she is the nourisher. And then we see Kajali, her mother, Onu, Rahul. All these are also these people who have not let the difficult situation break their spirit. They are the survivors. They are the positive notes which the writer has brought in the novel. And that's all, girls, for today. We'll be continuing with more questions. Thank you.